Today we've got Pete in the house. Pete is an agent up in the Philadelphia market, based out of Westchester.
Yep.
But you've been in real estate longer than I have. You were with REMAX up there.
Yep. It'll be 23 years in September.
Goodness, good for you. Good for you, man. It is. It's funny to see those memes. It's like a picture of like an old guy. It's like, I've been in real estate for 5 years, and they all decrepit. It's a tough industry, and to be in it that many years is good for you for doing it and doing well and making a name for yourself.
Thanks.
You cover a big area.
I do.
Compared to kind of like down here. My team, we really just kind of focus on the coastal Delaware area. Mm-hmm. Whereas up there, you're not just, and for people that are watching this, they may not know Delaware County or different areas in PA, but you're not just covering a couple towns like how we do. I see you in Philly. I see you on the main line, like Villanova, out around there. I see you in media. I see you kind of everywhere.
I try to stay active, yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to, in this industry. So.
Yeah, I built my business off of a spear. So most of the time, if I've got clients that need help, I'm there to help them. So I'll do Philadelphia, Delaware County, Chester County, Montgomery County.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's even bigger than what I was thinking. So the area I was talking was more like kind of like Delco, maybe a little bit of main line. But when you're getting into, do you do Bucks too?
No Bucks.
Okay, thank goodness. But again, Montgomery and Chester County. I mean, that's where. If that's where the people are, that's where the people are, and that's just kind of the name of the game being in this industry. So
yeah, I mean, I love the way that you set up your business where you are right. You're just dealing with the coastal Delaware side of things. That I would love that in a sense, but for me, I just want to be able to service my clients wherever they need to be serviced. So, at the same time, I see people that have licenses in like 4 states. Like for me, that's crazy. I don't know how you could service 4 separate states.
How are you the expert?
How are you the expert in 4 states?
Yep.
So for me, the 4 counties I could do. If it got past then I'm going to be referring it out to somebody who's an expert in those areas outside.
Yeah, no, and that's a really good way of phrasing that. And that's kind of, again, to your point, we're very blessed that we get to kind of stay in a really small area and do a successful business with it. And part of that's because it's resort area and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we kind of hang our hat on like, we're an expert, super fine tuned on that. And,
like for me, if somebody was like, "Oh, did you hear that they're building a Wegmans in Lower Maryland?"
like no, I did not. But I will tell you everything about Delaware County, Montgomery.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, and to that point, I think that's great, and that's why you've been able to be successful in your market and still be an agent 23 years later because this is a high turnover, industry.
Very high.
And once you kind of break into it. People think, oh, now it's easy, and it's not. It still is a grind every single day. It's an easier grind than there's that first year or two of trying to make a name for yourself, but you still have to work constantly to continue because there's other agents that have been doing it that long also. So for you to be doing it that long, congratulations, man. That's huge, and obviously the relationship that you have with your brokerage is good, and that's awesome. I mean, I'd love to hear that. So
yeah, no, it's been great. I think for me, one of the things that happened is over time, I started to realize, and this was when we met like last year or so, mm-hmm. I started to realize that I was getting to a point in my career where I was really clearly defining all the things that I didn't want to do, but I wasn't clearly defining the things that I was willing to do. So I would always say like, oh, I don't want to do video. I don't want to do podcasts. I don't want to do any of these things. And then I realized, what is that doing for me? What is that doing for my customers to just tell everybody what I'm not willing to do instead of what I am willing to do?
Sure.
So last year, and you're a big part of this, last year I just had a year of like just saying yes to everything. Like, hey, you want to do this? Yes. Do you want to do this? Yes. And from there, that's where...
See what sticks.
Yes. And just try new things.
Yeah.
Stop being so closed-minded to different things. So that's where kind of the YouTube thing came in, the videos came in, and now I'm here on your podcast. Like
the videos have been fantastic. I know we talked about this a little bit off camera, but I mean, they really, really are. And I've talked to tons of agents about, because I'm a big, I'm a big advocate of video and 100%. YouTube for realtors. And I think that everyone needs to try to figure out kind of what they're good at, what makes, because you have to be comfortable. And if you're comfortable, your videos come out genuine. And that is what will translate to people that are watching your videos, that you're genuine. If you look fake, you look phony, you're just trying to be like some other, TikToker or whatever, people realize that and they're going to scroll, go to the next video. But when you are crawling in crawl spaces, taking videos, I mean, you don't get much more feeling genuine than like, hey, look. And not only that, it also gives other people a view as to like, this is like what I do.
Yeah.
You hire me as your agent, this is what you get. This is the peak, realtor that you get. And that can be even other friends from Strathaven class of 95 that know that you're a realtor, but they don't know what type of realtor you are, of like, well, maybe during my next sale or my next purchase, I need to call Pete because he's going to get in crawl space and crawl around and hang out with the spiders and bugs to make sure I'm covered, because that's huge. So
yeah, with that particular house, that video I made specifically because that was a house that was being sold as is. That was a house that was going to be sold, no inspections.
I didn't know that.
My customer was fully ready to buy that house, and I said, whoa, I'm going to crawl into this crawl space real quick.
Is it on YouTube or is it on?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Sorry, I'm gonna.
But I wanted to get in there just because I knew that he wasn't going to have an opportunity to do an inspection otherwise. And once I crawled into the crawl space, it was a complete nightmare. And that was the reason why he didn't end up buying that house.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Guin. You have a Q.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Hey, there he is. Where are you crawling?
Go to the channel. Can you get to the channel itself?
Here?
I have to update that. Yes, thank you. And then go videos.
Is it a short? Or?
I think it's a short. Yeah, I think it definitely is a short.
But I want to show this real quick. This is a lot of videos. And it's really, and people don't understand. I think you just grab a camera and you shoot a video. It is hard. And we're talking, this is only 7 months ago. This is the first time I've done this and scrolled through. Kudos, man. This is a lot of work. And people don't realize how much work it is to do this. Hey, there's Chris.
Chris said hi, by the way.
I haven't seen Chris in a while. This is huge. I mean, this is a lot of work. To do consistently, and that is the key when it comes to videos, is consistency, and that's how people will continue to watch. But I gotta find this just because I think this was good too. I like that.
Yeah, I just wanted to just try to point. There it is.
You can't miss it.
Hey everybody, a weird video for you here today.
Love this, man.
Not a scary movie, but a crawl space. And you might ask, why are you in a crawl space? Well, I've got a buyer looking to purchase a house here, and the house has.
I mean, just the level of uncomfort on your face is classic. But that's, again, to my point, I think that's what makes it genuine. It's so easy to walk around like a nice kitchen and be like, we're going to look in the cabinets, but to get down and get down and dirty, man, that's awesome, man. It really is.
I caught a lot of heat for that video though, because people were sharing it around social media and tagging their realtors and saying like, why don't you ever crawl in a crawl space for me?
Hey, I hate to say it, but great. That's the question that they should be asking. I tell people all the time, and it's not just in this industry, it's in every industry. I used to be in the automotive industry, and I would tell clients, hey, look, you're not just shopping like our company versus other companies. We were a franchise, but you're also shopping from within our company, our shop compared to other shops. Yeah. Because I'm not there, and I was pretty good at what I did. You're coming to me, you're not coming to the brand. And the same thing for this. I mean, and if other agents are, they can complain or get like one of those white tie back things and start crawling the crawl space. Put your, get dirty and get down. If you want to, but that's where I think that you are doing a really good job of showing, number one, your knowledge, and that is, maybe not everyone knows this. Real estate is a lot more than just contracts.
Yeah, contracts, photos, signs, all the things that people think.
We are not contractors and we're not plumbers and we're not electricians, but we can see things and then say, I recommend that I'm not sure about this. You should contact a plumber to have them, verify whether this is right or wrong.
Yep.
And that's where this video you're going over zones and stuff. It's just so authentic.
Yeah, I just want to inform people of things, you know.
But the style, the point of view, the POV style video, it's super authentic, man. And you know, kudos. And
thank you.
And more so for getting outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really, really hard, especially if you said, hey, look, I've been a realtor for 2 years. I'm trying to figure out a new way because I'm not successful in it. But you've been in the industry for a long time, and the whole can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like you're like, hey, look, I need to be evolving with the way the industry is moving on. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it really is awesome.
100%. Like I was on the fence. My wife is very techie, and she was, you got to make videos. You got to do that. And I just kept giving her all the reasons why. Nobody wants to see me. Nobody cares about anything I have to think about or say or whatever. And then I started seeing your videos, and I was like, wow, these are great. And what could I do that's more for me?
Yeah.
And I just kind of stopped caring. I stopped caring about all of the things that I built up, all the reasons why, whatever. I just let it all go, and now I just don't care at all. Like now I just think it's funny where people tell me like, oh, I saw your video, or you make so many videos, they're dumb. I'm like, great.
Dude,
but you saw it.
Exactly. It was funny. I was at an open house, maybe like 2 months ago, and we're putting the sign out front, and this car pulls up, and he's like, hey, Cory, how are you? And I'm like, hey, and he's like, hey, man, we bought this is in the community of Walden. We bought our house here because of you, and we went to the builder, without you. I'm like, oh, thanks, but that's fine. By the way, if you're watching this, call me. Don't go right to the builder. But with that being said, I'm like, he's like, can I get a selfie? He's like, my wife will love it, and I'm like, I'm just a realtor, man. I'm like, sure, okay, that's fine. But it's funny. People will get invested in like watching your videos, whether they like them or they don't like them, or they like this one better than the other, but they're seeing the side of you, and they're seeing the difference of the traditional, bus stop seat with the realtor like banner that's on there or billboard. They get to hear your voice, they get to see your personality, they get to see that you're passionate about this. And that's another thing, after 23 years, to still show passion in what you do. That's big. It's very easy to get burnt out in this industry and just be like,
for sure.
Okay, how many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? What's your price point? Let's find some houses. Let's go look at them. You want to put an offer? So.
No, I still love it. I mean, when I first got into the business a long time ago, obviously, one of my takeaways was when I was first shopping around for a house to buy, I was going to all these different agents, and I was young. I'm not gonna lie. I was young. I get it. I probably didn't seem like a real buyer to these folks or whatever, but every agent that I ran across, they would all brag about how well they did, successfully in the business, and I felt like the service was terrible. Mm-hmm. So I just felt like people deserve better. And that's the way that I've kind of built my business. I'd like to be very hands-on with people. I like to make sure that everybody's well informed, and do all the things that I wanted when I was a buyer that I wasn't getting.
Yeah, I think this industry can get egotistical because
100%.
There's money to be made, and people can let that get to their head. I think you and I came up with similar grassroots, coming up, and I always say to my team, I say to my family, call me janitor. I don't care.
Yeah, fair.
I don't need titles. I've been in the covers of magazines, and that's cool, but doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's more for ego, kind of.
It's cool. It's cool for marketing.
Marketing is right.
That's my whole thing. I don't need someone to say, hey, you're so good or you're so great. I'm like, I just, my job, I wake up to number one, provide for my family.
Yeah.
That's, why we do this, number one. Number two, provide for my clients.
Yeah.
How cool is it, man? We get to sell things that are life-changing for people. That,
absolutely.
Buy a pair of sneakers and, 6 months are buying a new pair. It's something you're making memories on. And if they happen to see you drive by, they wave to you. They always remember you. You see them in the grocery store, and they're so excited to see you. And it's because if you did a good job, it could go the other way.
Sure.
If you're not good, then they're like, oh, there's that guy.
This sucks.
I think that we both take such pride in our work, and we really take it. It's a big part of who we are to make sure that we're providing the service that clients are deserving of. That when we see customers, they're excited to see us.
100%.
It's cool.
You get to be a part of one of people's biggest days of their lives.
Yeah.
all the time. And that's my job. My job is to be part of one of the biggest days of your life.
Yeah. And you
That's
go by,
awesome.
you see like a basketball net out front, or you go by the holidays and you see them decorating, and it's like,
Yeah.
they're not thinking about me per se, but I had something to do with that.
You're part of the journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
part of that memory that they're now creating, putting up their first tree or whatever they're pushing the kids on the swing in the backyard. I help them get there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's kind of neat.
I really love it.
Yeah. I mean, the next thing would be a car, and so this is cooler than a car. So
100%.
exciting. So how is your market up in the area right now? So this is July 1st,
Sure.
2025. How is the 4 counties up in PA? How's the market going up there?
Still resilient.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to make a video about this later today. Anyway, so I think when people watch the news, national news, it could be a little bit, it's the national news.
Sure.
It encompasses the whole country. So a lot of times I'll have people call and say, hey, how's the market? Is it cooling off up there? Is it more of a buyer's market? I saw something in the news saying it's a buyer's market now, and it's like, not here. Knock on wood if that's, whatever. But for instance, I was in a transaction last week where I represented the buyer. We went in for a house, put an offer in the house. The house was $900,000. We offered $1 million and cash as is, etc. And the deadline was for 10 a.m. By 10:01, I had an email saying you didn't get it, and I was like, whoa. I was like, okay. That house just went to settlement this week. It sold for $1.3 million. It sold $400,000 over asking price.
Wow.
Now, was it mispriced? Yeah, I mean, I thought it was probably worth about $1 million, give or take. I don't think 1.3.
About 300. Yeah, that agent obviously either really did his or her job or did not.
Well,
it's hard to say. Like, did they let it bid up, or did they just completely? At the end of the day, I mean, look, the client really made out well. I'm sure they're super happy.
I'm sure the seller's happy, the buyer's happy. They got the house. If that's their end goal, they got the house. The funny thing about that is that my takeaway originally was like that seller's agent never said that we couldn't use an escalation clause. So I don't know how somebody got to 1.3. I have no idea, unless that buyer's agent just didn't tell their clients about an escalation clause or explain to them how it works. Because do you guys use escalation clauses down here?
I mean, we haven't in a while.
All right, fair.
Yeah, but
Fair.
yeah, we used to. I mean,
we still use them all the time.
Every single offer had escalation clauses in it.
So unless a seller comes out and specifically says that they won't want an escalation clause, which, to be honest, if you're representing a seller, is smart to say we don't want this. And that's how you start to see normally these wild variations in prices. People go, how was a house listed at $900,000 and ends up at 1.3 or whatever? And you say, well, they didn't allow an escalation clause, obviously, because at that point they're just throwing darts at a dartboard blind. And then
so go high if you really want it.
And you'll hear buyers negotiate against themselves when they're creating an offer, and they'll say, "Oh, I'll offer $1 million." No, somebody else will offer $1 million. That's dumb. Well, I'll offer 1.1. Well, somebody else will probably offer 1, so I'll do 1.2. No, 1.3. And then you see like these crazy inflated numbers on the back end. But when you have an escalation clause, if the seller's agent will allow it, there's no reason for any of that. Because you could just say, "I'll beat any offer by whatever, 10 grand, whatever it happens to be, up to a certain amount." But obviously, with that, in that case, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Somebody just went all out and said, "I'll give you 1.3 cash," and that'll be the end of it.
I would, well, especially at that number. That's a really like 1.3. It's not like 1.3, 20 or something.
Yeah. There was no escalation.
Yeah.
It just was.
It was an offer.
It was just an offer.
Wow.
Which to me, I was just like, that's great. Like, again, you got the house, so congratulations.
Yeah, that's great. And they're
but
obviously.
Could you have gotten the house for 1.2 or 1.1?
Yeah.
You just never know.
And the thing is, didn't see all the offers and how it is. We are not that fortunate right now. We are in a different market where we have a pretty, number one, our summers have always been pretty slow.
Okay.
Pretty crickets going on. We're a beach town. So like people come here, they vacation, hey, we're going to go house shopping. It's not maybe the best time people think to maybe go drive around looking at resales. New construction still does well, but the resale side tends to slow down. And then I think because we do so much on so many people are looking to retire here because of our tax savings and everything
Sure.
else. Maybe they just retired and they came down here, let's go on vacation, and they're like, yeah, this is really cool. We love to live here all the time. And then in the fall, we go bonkers in the fall.
Okay.
But I think we're also, we have, I talk to clients all the time, and people are like, well, we might just wait to see some type of action in the markets or whatever. There's some uncertainty. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are, I know that Wilmington, that market, and just an hour and 15 minutes north of here is sitting on a month of inventory. They're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
We're a little bit slower. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of an increase in inventory, but not enough to satisfy the buyer demand still.
Yeah.
Now, that'll find a place eventually, maybe, but I think that you would need some sort of larger shift going on to see our market shift too much. Like if something really happened where people were worried about jobs or something, then I think that would obviously have a direct impact.
Well, we also don't have quite the same like the summer catalyst for getting in before schools. So like,
Fair.
If you have, you had another kid, you need a bigger house, and maybe you're like, well, if we're gonna make the change, we want to go into a different school district. We need to be in by X date. We don't have as much of that.
Fair.
There may be some families that they're relocating down here, and yes, they want to get in, but probably not nearly compared to other, more traditional markets that aren't, vacation beach towns, that are just kind of more like, how Delaware County or Montgomery County would be, of like, hey, we're going to make that change. Let's get in before September, so that way the kids can start at the new school and not have to transfer in the middle. So.
I kind of figured, I would have assumed the opposite, I guess. Like, because I feel like when you come on vacation, you're like, man, this is awesome. We should buy one of these houses,
Well, and a lot of times they do. But so what happens is they're like, we love this. Maybe instead of renting, kind of like to the point that, in our conversation earlier, maybe I shouldn't rent. Maybe I should just buy a place. But you're like, I'm not going to do it now. Let's get settled in school, and then we'll come down like when there's less traffic.
The idea is planted during the vacation week, but the execution is after.
When things are like a little slower and easier, and we can take our time, but then we kind of have a little bit of adverse reaction because the traffic-y kind of time period can extend because now everyone's coming down to buy houses,
Fair.
Which is great. It's still nothing like the way that it is in summer, in which we have an abnormal amount of traffic this year.
Oh, okay.
Compared to normal. I mean, typically, and it has been trafficy, and I think that has also come from, in which I still think that you guys have worse traffic than we do on Tuesday on Blue on Blue Route. It's just like I'm like, people complain about our traffic. This is horrible, but I think that when there's some uncertainties, people are like, maybe we won't go to Hawaii, maybe we won't go to Europe. Let's just go to Delaware Beaches. We'll save some money until we feel maybe we'll postpone the next year to take the big vacation. So I think I've kind of been tracking every 2 or 3 years that we have like bad traffic summers. And it tends to be, COVID obviously was like, everyone was like, we need to get out of the city, go down to the beach. And we're like, go away, go back to the city. take your germs with you. But yeah, I think, a lot of times it's that, and we've been trying to attribute like, why does this happen? I think it's that, let's just take a local vacation. And,
that makes a lot of sense.
It saves some time, but yeah, so that, and that's where like our falls pop up. So,
okay.
It's a fun market. Obviously, we do a lot of new construction down here. We have a lot of open land, and I'm assuming that up in your market, your new construction is probably more in the Chester County, Montgomery County, less in Delaware County, because there's not
a lot to build.
You're
doing like one-offs or maybe a small,
or tear down and rebuild or something like that. But
you're not seeing like big communities come in too much.
But in those other counties, they're doing like planned developments, like what we have down here.
Correct.
Yeah, which is hey, it's cool.
I wish that somebody would take some of your concepts from down here though and go. I like where. Again, I'm staying at the Coastal Club. I love the Coastal Club. Like if somebody did that in Chester County, where they built a community around a clubhouse, restaurant, bar, yada yada.
Yeah, I don't know why other markets don't add the amenities. So they do play in communities, but it's just mainly houses,
it's
isn't
just
it?
houses and maybe like a basic pool, but not like an over the top, well thought out pool area.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why either. It makes no sense to me.
Like there's when I lived up in North Wilmington, there was this one community and they had like a playground, but it was like one you'd have in your backyard.
Fair.
It wasn't really
Yeah, but-
a community playground.
But even still, in comparison to other communities, you're like, wow, we have a playground.
Yeah, look, there is a swing.
Yeah, right.
And it might fall down at any point in time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that is. Even like, in Lancaster County, like there's a lot of building goods going on in Lancaster County. They don't do it there either.
I don't know why.
We were looking, I worked for a builder down here before I came and did this, and there was a builder that we really liked in Lancaster County called Keystone. Really, they
Familiar.
They built a great quality home. They got, and we drove up there just kind of see like how does it compare to what we're doing down here, and so we're driving around. I'm like, so where's like the stuff? And I'm like, it's just 3/4 acre lots everywhere. I'm like, I'm not really not used to that because most everything. It's like you get a pool and a bathhouse, you're like, oh, you don't have a clubhouse.
Yeah.
You don't have a splash pool.
Right, exactly.
A kids zone, water slides. No pickleball, no tennis. It is. I don't know why that is.
I feel like that would do really well.
I would think so. I mean, especially because a lot of those amenities are for obviously the adults, but the kids also love them as well. And I don't know.
I feel like people will pay up for it.
And I mean, you've got big national builders up there. You have, they put the marketing dollars in, which that's always from a builder's perspective. That's a marketing expense. I would think that would be, home run. But
I would think so too. I mean,
then you go champion that, man. Be the first one and be like, give me the exclusive listing, on this. I'll be your in-house salesperson.
I feel like I feel like as builders get to a point where if they're having trouble moving inventory and they need to think outside the box, that's where I would start.
Like
Build a better clubhouse, and people will come.
Well, look, Shell Brothers, doesn't, I do a lot of business with them, and they are in this market. This is where they obviously originated. They're also in Richmond. They are in Nashville, and they just opened up a division in Boise, Idaho.
Oh,
so. And some of their communities have less amenities. I went down to one in Nashville when we were down at the Irish Dance Nationals this week, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. And, it was kind of weird to be in a community by Shell Brothers that didn't have, water slides and everything. But, I think that there's other communities that they're doing that in. So, maybe they're...
It makes a lot of sense. I mean...
I don't know. I mean, it's, and maybe... Because people are coming here, they're okay with higher amenity, high amenity costs. I mean, I don't know what HOA dues are in some of the communities, the planned communities up in your area, but
they're not inexpensive.
Like what's like average if you had to
$650
a year,
a month?
Wow. Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, we have people that are paying.
I mean, you could
$255 a month for Peninsula Lakes that has a lazy river. It's got billiards table, gym. Kids splash zone, grilling stations, stocked fishing ponds, 11 lakes.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to get something around for like $250 or whatever, it would be a place that didn't have a pool, where the $250 really covered landscaping and.
Wow.
You're not getting a whole lot. The $650, five, six, whatever, you're getting something that has a pool, but it's just a basic.
Are they doing in those communities up there for that? Are they also cutting the homeowners' lawns? And they are. Okay, so at least they get that.
Yeah, you get that too.
Yeah, but, I mean that's nice to have. At least they have.
No, 100%. Like it's supposed to be.
But still, like
that's a big number.
Yeah.
And I just think like our lives are getting busier, or at least they seem like they're getting busier, right? So like if you could create a community where you had the same clubhouse pool, I think that people would pay up for that, because it just makes their life easier, where they know, hey, summer's here, I know where my kids are going to be every day.
Well, and when you're the first one, then you're the cool guy.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, you live there?
Yeah, right, 100%.
Like, I mean, if
you put pictures of that community, say like a coastal club in Chester County, and said, check out my new house in Westchester, it would sell out. People would like, where is that?
In your area, what would you say is your hottest, I'll call it sub-market of the market that you work in?
I mean, lately I've been dealing with a lot of first-time home buyers, which has been exciting of its own right. We've been having, with the increase in inventory that I was talking about earlier, we've had some abilities to get first-time home buyers houses that we hadn't had in a long time. And I work with a lender that offers a great program that some of the buyers can qualify for a grant. So I've sold quite a few in the last couple of years to first-time home buyers, which is awesome. Going back to like the experience of being part of their journey, like seeing people doing this thing where I feel like the overall narrative at this point in the market is that it's harder to buy a house, nobody can afford a house,
Sure.
and some of that is 100% true. But for the people that can afford to buy a house, being a part of their journey and having them get a house when so many people are telling them that they can't get it, it's super exciting.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and you were the one that made the magic happen, so that's, you get to be the superhero. So
Well, yeah, I think again, like going back to like just asking questions. I'm a big question asker. So like, I feel like sometimes where people are told like you can't do this, people just shut down and think like, oh, I can't do it. I've been told I can't do it. I can't do it. Instead of saying, okay, great, I appreciate your input that you don't think I can do it, but now I'm going to just like look into it a little bit more, see if
Sure.
it is possible or
Yeah.
not. And like, I had a situation 2 weeks ago, give or take, whatever it was. First time home buyer purchased a house where they got that grant that we were talking about, and they got and the seller also provided a seller's assist. And so at settlement, the total start to finish cost was $1,300. $1,300.
that's awesome.
So, like, is that common? Absolutely not. Can it happen? Sure. Did it happen? Yes. Like, and that was from somebody who thought that they didn't have the ability to become a homeowner.
They were going to be renting forever.
Right.
Type of,
Right.
How are we ever going to be able to come up with enough down money or whatever
Right,
to
exactly.
make that happen? So.
Exactly. And so, and I think, her payment's just slightly above what she was paying for rent, and now she owns something.
Yeah, equity. Every single month she's going to equity instead of the landlord's equity.
100%.
Which is a big deal. Which of the markets of your, Westchester or Media, or which has been kind of the hottest market for you, or are you pretty much evenly spread out between the whole area that you cover?
Well, so I live in media. My wife works for media, and I'm very involved in like volunteering in media. So
Okay.
I tend to do a lot, in media because I'm always there.
Sure.
I like giving back to the community. It's just part of what makes me happy. So when there's been volunteer opportunities, I've always jumped on them. So I've been volunteering now for media for 4 years or so. Before that, I volunteered for Middletown, which is a subsection of media, for, 8 years prior to that. But the organization that I didn't survive COVID, unfortunately. Like, it's funny when people say, like, a lot of times people see me volunteering and they always ask, like, why are you doing this? Why are you here? I'm like, oh, I'm just volunteering. They're like, oh, but why? And like, people literally cannot understand. I'm like, I just love it here and I just like helping.
well, and if you don't, who will? Like,
Yeah, right.
Like, if they don't, if someone's not volunteering, then someone needs to be paid to do it.
Right.
And it's like, well, where does the money come from?
Yeah,
So,
and
like,
either way, like I love doing it. I love being a part of the community. But it's just, that's just like a little aside that I always think is funny because people are always like, "Is this like community service? Are you doing community service? Like, what is this?"
Did you get in trouble?
Yeah. Were you speeding or something? Why are you here? That's a quick aside. But so I think like in that market in particular, because living there, I coach there, et cetera, I tend to do a fair amount of business in media because of that.
Yeah. That's obviously being in the geographic surroundings of where you're at is going to be where you're spending most of your time, and so that makes sense. But again, for anyone that's watching, if they're also on the outskirts,
100%.
You are not one of those guys that is like, oh no, I don't travel far. I'm Cory Mayo.
Yeah.
I don't go up to Smyrna.
10 miles max. That's it. If I can't ride my bike to it, I'm not going.
Yeah, my car will run out of gas apparently. No. I mean, look, we do up and down, the coastal area, but because there is such a demand here, it just allows us to just stay so hyper focused and be so
I love it.
educated on every nook and cranny of what's going on up and down here, and you can't do that in a lot of markets. If you were to go into Montgomery County or Chester County, a lot of that is still open land. So it's like, where would you focus?
Yeah, no, it's fair.
So
I mean, the stuff that you've been doing down here, especially the new builds, I think is awesome. It provides so much information to people looking from out of state to come here, where they can feel like they can really start their journey on your YouTube channel. And by the time they actually get their boots on the ground here, have a really good understanding of the communities and where they want to look because of your videos and your content and your information. It's awesome.
Well, and that's something, that's a big thing that's unique about our area, because a lot of people that are buying or building down here, a lot of them are from out of the area, whereas I'm assuming in your market, a lot of it's lateral moves.
Yeah.
And they're coming from, moving over to another town because, they need a bigger house, say the kid,
Yeah, bigger
or
house.
they're going smaller or whatever it might be. So and that's where I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with your content, and it's just talking to people, and it's really when you see a picture or a billboard or an advertisement of someone, you don't know what their personality is, what their temperament is, what's the cadence of how they talk, do they talk over you or whatever. And when you start to watch someone's videos, there are these real estate coaches that you see online, and you're like, oh goodness, I don't know if I could spend 10 minutes in a room with that guy. It's just they're again, kind of the ego thing kind of comes in. It's like, oh, and then there's other people who are like, that person seems like a really good person, and they may be horrible.
Yeah, true.
But you get way more of a feel of like, this is someone I think I might be able to get along with.
Yep.
By watching videos, because you get to kind of you see their eyes, and it sounds corny, but like you can kind of see a little bit of like, this seems like a good person. So
No,
like,
100%. I mean, I feel like when people see me on YouTube, I'm sure it happens to you all the time. Like, by the time they meet me for the first time, they don't feel like they're meeting me for the first time.
Yep.
They feel as if we're like almost picking up a conversation from before.
Because they already kind of know you, and you're like, I don't know you yet, but
Right.
But no, but it is. It's 100%, and I think that's huge. And again, not to sound like a broken record, but kudos for you for kind of figuring out what fits you, and what fits you in your market.
Yeah.
It's that's a great thing, and I think 23 years is awesome. I don't know if you got another 23 in you.
I don't have any more hair to lose, so that's
to that meme I was talking about. I'm 27 years old. I've been doing real estate for 5 years. It's like this old decrepit guy.
I joke with my kids that I had like 80s hairband when I first started hair. Like,
Yeah.
they don't buy it, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
It is not an industry for the you need to have thick skin. You need to be a hard working person.
I think that's where the
can't just fall
disconnect.
into this.
I think a lot of people have an overly simplified view of what it takes to become a realtor. And I think when people ask me, like, oh, I'm thinking about getting my license, what do you think? I'll tell them very straightforward what the expectations are. And I think, love it or hate it, like, there's a lot of TV shows based on real estate agents, and it makes it seem very easy. And like, you're like, oh, just stroll into the office, pick up my $300,000 check, and stroll on out. And it's like, that is not at all what
I just
this
show
is.
people houses, and then
Yeah.
they find the one that they like, and then they move on. It's like, number one, you need people to call you first.
Yeah.
And why are they calling you? I mean, I don't know how many you have in Sussex County. We have roughly 1,600 agents.
Sure.
So I'm one.
Yeah, right,
So
exactly.
how am I getting phone calls? Why are people calling me from the one? And part of it is because, there's a lot of agents that make it a little bit easier because, I forget, I heard a statistic somewhere, and I think it's within these guidelines roughly, of 72% of agents did zero business.
Yeah, I heard that same one. Yeah.
So my thing is, if you're going to sell your house, and especially more so in your market than here, but you're going to sell your house, and you're going to, I was going to say the Yellow Pages. There's
that 1995 info coming out.
Don't really go to the Yellow Pages anymore. You're scrolling through something, and you're looking for agents. You Google, Realtor, Media PA, and which is just going to pull up, anything, and you're scrolling through. You have, a very, very high likelihood of getting one of those 72% agents that did zero.
Yeah, for sure.
Zero business. They're like, oh my goodness, someone called me, and this is great. And it's like, hey, that might be wonderful, and you're gonna get someone that is gonna hone in on you for the entire. But it's like, are they doing it the right way?
100%.
Why do they do zero business? And that is a really, you got to find that balance of like the 72% person, and then like the monster who's just like, you call me, you get the deal, and they hand it off to someone else on their team. And I think that's kind of. You and I have kind of found that balance.
That's what I've been shooting for this whole. I talk to people all the time. I did a video recently about don't ask your agent what they're going to do for you. Go back and look at what they've done for other people.
Right.
Instead of saying like, hey, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. Say, show me your last 5 listings, and I want to see how they were marketed. I want to see, what was the quality of the photos? Did you have video? What was the traction of those videos? Give me the data based on your previous stuff instead of telling me what you're going to do in this hypothetical world. And part of the reason for that was that, like, I saw this listing the other day, and it had one photo clearly taken with a cell phone, taken like up and down like an Instagram story photo. So it had all the dead space on either the right or left side. And then the write-up just said, house needs updates. That was it. And I was like, that person hired that other person. I'm sure when they met them, they weren't like, I'm going to do one really bad photo on the way out the door.
And I'm going to do a horrible write-up.
I'm going to write 4 words down, and then that'll be the rest of the time that you're going to see me. There's
make sure that you're looking at your listing.
100%.
And I think a lot of people don't. Make sure you're reviewing your listing. Make sure that's accurate. And number one, the agent doesn't know everything about your house.
Fair.
So make sure that hey, and you may have forgotten that we had a geothermal unit put in, not just a regular HVAC unit. Oh, yeah, cool. We need it. But also make sure it's not 4 words.
Right. I always send it. I send it right off. As soon as it's done, I hit submit on the MLS, and I immediately send it to my clients and say, are you happy with the write-up? Is there anything that was missed? Do you want any photos taken off or exchanged, et cetera, et cetera? I'm advertising your product.
Yeah.
So I better be advertising it correctly in the way that maybe our viewpoints are different, but overall, I want you to see what I'm doing. And if I'm not willing to send it to you, it means that I'm not doing something right.
Well, it's and to the point of photography, obviously everyone's a photographer now. They have a cell phone.
Fair.
But let's even step it up. Let's go with a DSLR. Someone's going to be like, you know what? I'm a realtor. I'm going to invest in a really nice camera to take pictures. It's like saying, I'm going to build a house and I'm going to buy a $1,500, framing gun, because that'll make me an amazing framer.
Yeah.
Not it's just a tool.
It's just a tool.
You have to know how to use it. So the camera's the same thing. Just because you can push a button to make the shutter move and take a picture, or just because you can pull the trigger to shoot a nail, doesn't mean you know how to frame up a house, how to frame a wall up. Just because you can hit the button doesn't mean that you know the composition. I used to be a real estate photographer before I moved down here.
Yep. It
takes a long time to learn angles, and I see some of these pictures, and I'm like, number one, as a real estate photographer, yes, your job is to take pictures, but your job is also to analyze what you're about to shoot and say, is this right? The blinds are crooked. There's sneakers that are over in the corner. Why is the remote out? The toilet seat's up.
The toilet seat's always up. Drives me crazy.
Drives me
crazy.
The ceiling fan's on, so it's blurring. There's a light bulb out in the bathroom. So these are all things that, number one, a realtor should always be there, or always do their best to be there when the photographer's taking pictures, to be another set of eyes.
Yep.
But they should be walking the property, the day before or something, and make sure that it's ready for pictures.
100%.
When the client says, okay, we're ready to schedule the pictures, cool, let me come take a look. Okay, everything looks great. It's just, you have 2700 Kelvin, a 4000 Kelvin, and the 20, so it's yellow, white, yellow bulb.
Yep.
Let's get them to be the same.
Yeah.
And those are just, that's the difference. And so, so that's with utilizing a professional photographer. Now you have the agents that are like, well, I can do it. And then they go even to the one that are like, I'll just use my cell phone. And it's how is that really, are you representing yourself and your service because you're trying to save a couple $100 on photography?
It makes no sense.
Just hire a professional. You're a professional. Hire a professional to do the job. Stay in your lane. I'm not going to come in and try to fix plumbing. That's the lane for a plumber.
Fair.
And I can do it, but I wouldn't, let the plumber do it. So, I think that's good. I think that you, again, kudos for building a great business on there. I wish you another 23 years, and hopefully, maybe come on next year, because I mean, I don't know if I'll be here this. This is always our Irish Dance Nationals weekend.
Oh, fair.
So, but if we are, definitely, love to have you back on. I think that this is, it's good for people to hear, for people in our market to hear what's happening in other markets.
Absolutely.
Again, we are slow, and I'm happy to hear that you guys are busy up there. But maybe it's because I don't know if you guys are following us, or hopefully we're following you, and we're going to be picking up soon. But at the same time, it's great for your people also to hear, and for anyone that is up in that Montgomery County, Chester County, Delaware County, that's thinking about selling their house. They should absolutely call Pete. And when they're thinking about selling their house and moving to the beach, they should call me.
100%. Dude, you're a great agent. I love how you stay ahead of everybody with all of your ideas, everything that you execute. This office is amazing. All the things that you're doing.
Thanks, man.
You're really, you do a very good job of setting yourself apart from a lot of different agents and staying ahead of the curve, not just getting ahead of other people and then just saying like, oh, well, I'm ahead. I'm going to just like go back and just do this for the rest of forever. You're like constantly trying to push yourself, and that's awesome.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it, and it's nice to see that's noticed. So
Yeah, 100%.
thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
I wish you again lots of luck in the future, and it won't be luck when you work hard. So
100%. Same
awesome.
with you.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you.